I am Master Sergeant Laura Infante, 804th Test Group Superintendent, and I am honored to serve as your Master of Ceremonies for today's event. For the purpose of military protocol, this is considered an indoor ceremony. Military members should not salute but stand at attention during the national anthem. We invite our civilian guests to participate by standing and placing their right hands over their hearts. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Air Force Test Center Commander and Presiding Officer, Major General Evan C. Durteen, welcome to the Arnold Engineering Development Complex Change of Command, in which Colonel Randall Gordon relinquishes command to Colonel Grant Mizell. The Change of Command ceremony is a military tradition rooted in history and dates back to the time of Frederick the Great of Prussia. During that time, military organizations developed flags, which were unique to their organization with specialized colors and designs. The soldiers followed their leaders into battle with flag in hand. If the banner flew proudly after the conflict, it was a sign of victory on the field of battle. With its obvious importance, the flag was soon incorporated into ancient change of command ceremonies. The organization's banner was exchanged in public for all to see. The person holding the flag was the unchallenged and sovereign leader of the unit. The modern-day ceremony is primarily symbolic, yet it still announces to all the authority of the incoming commander in the finest military tradition. The transfer of command of the command flag to the incoming commander symbolizes the assumption of command. The change of command ceremony is a visible means of holding the reins of command, of handing the reins of command from one commander to another. Exchanging the guidon is more than just a symbolic tradition. The guidon identifies the loyalty and allegiance of the unit. Passing it to another officer was, and still is, the literal change of command. Today, the AEDC guidon will be passed on, representing the responsibility of the unit being surrendered by one and accepted by another. Today's ceremony is simple and direct. The departing commander will face the presiding officer, salute, and say, "Sir, I relinquish command." He then steps aside as the new commander takes his place in front of the presiding officer. He salutes and says, "Sir, I assume command." In all, 8 spoken words, but in those 8 words are an ending and a beginning. For Colonel Gordon, it marks the end of a distinguished tour with the AEDC. For Colonel Mizell, it heralds the beginning of a new and challenging tour of duty. To both, we offer our best wishes. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and the rendition of our national anthem by Mr. James Dill.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Mr. Dill, and members of the Robins Air Force Base Honor Guard. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the invocation provided by Mr. Darrell Day.
Good morning. Would you please bow your heads and pray with me? Heavenly Father, we thank you for the blessing us today with such a great day for this change of command ceremony. Lord, we thank you for your presence in our lives and for the guidance that you provide each one of us. Lord, as we pass the mantle of leadership at AEDC today, we lift up Colonel Gordon and his family. We are grateful for their years of dedicated service, leadership, and the sacrifices they have made for AEDC and the Air Force. We also give you thanks for the many years of service they have given to this nation over his career. We ask that you bless them in their future endeavors, granting them peace, wisdom, and continued success as they make this transition in life. As we welcome Colonel Mizell and his family, we pray for your anointing upon him and his family. With great authority comes great responsibility. We ask that you grant him the strength, the courage, and the wisdom needed to lead this great unit with integrity and honor. May they seek your guidance in every decision and action, and may their leadership inspire unity, excellence, and dedication among those they lead. Lord, we are thankful for the men and the women, military, civilian, and contractors who contribute to the freedom of this nation. We pray for them and ask that you protect them and strengthen them as they serve. Give them the resilience to face the challenges in the days, the weeks, and the months to come. May they feel your presence and find comfort in your protection. Heavenly Father, we ask for your blessings upon this transition. May it be smooth and marked by cooperation and mutual respect. Help us all to support one another and to strive together for the common good. We ask all these things in your wonderful and holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Day. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. At this time, I would like to introduce our distinguished guest in attendance with us today. Please hold your applause until all are announced. Joining us today is Colonel Gordon's wife, Miss Tiffany, and their son, Marcus, who is joining us virtually. His uncle, Mr. Owen Gordon, and his wife, Bobby. His nephew, Andrew Nance. His cousin, Michelle Holst Grube, and her husband, Kevin. And his cousin, Warren Gordon, and his wife, Jackie. We are pleased to have with us today Colonel Mizell's family, his wife, Miss Evelyn, son Kelly joining us virtually as well, his daughter Lorelei Mizell, his mother Miss Pam Mizell, his brother Mr. Andrew Mizell, and niece Marigold Mizell. Dr. Winston Brown and his wife Miss Lally, parents of Miss Evelyn, Mr. Larry Benfield, Mr. Ken Breeden and his wife Jenny, Mr. Miles O'Reilly, Mr. Tim Rager and his wife Allie, Brigadier General U.S. Air Force retired Matthew Heiger and his wife Lieutenant Colonel U.S. Army retired Leslie, Mr. Chris Childress and his wife Monica, Mr. Mike Baker, Mr. William Faulkner, and Lieutenant Colonel Vincent Zabala. We would like to extend a warm welcome to Major General Evan C. Durteen, AFTC Commander, Mr. Jay Strabino, Field Representative for Marcia Blackburn, United States Senator from Tennessee, Miss Amy Dennis, Representative for United States Representative 4th District of Tennessee, Scott Desjardins, Dr. and Mrs. Thomas Federhoff, AFTC's Senior Leader and Spouse, Colonel Kurt Bruggerman, IMA AEDC Commander, and his wife Christina, Chief Master Sergeant Jennifer Cercioni, Command Chief, and her daughter Mackenzie, Mr. Kevin Muckerhide, Deputy Director, Mr. Ed Tucker, Technical Director, Ms. Sarah Beth Morgan, Complex Support Director, Colonel Jason Vapp, 804th Test Group Commander, and his wife Joey, Colonel Carl Seacamp, 704th Test Group Commander, Senior Master Sergeant James Jordan, 704th Test Group Superintendent, Mr. Brian Charger Ravac, 704th Test Group Technical Director, Colonel Eric Withrow, Test Support Division Chief, his wife Melissa, and sons Ulrich and Leif. We would also like to welcome two of our past AEDC commanders and current Arnold Community Council members, retired Major General Michael Wiedemer and retired Colonel Buzz Toth, as well as Mr. Mark Mahalik, ACC member and former Deputy Director, retired Colonel Jim Joliffe and his wife Liz, ACC member and former Test Director, and thank you to all of our other Arnold Community Council members joining us today. We would also like to recognize Major Timothy Butler, Tennessee National Guard Training Site Command, Captain Bradley Martin and Sergeant First Class William Broersma, Tennessee National Guard Training Center members, Mr. John Davis, Senior Vice Commander, American Legion of Tennessee, and Arnold Air Force Base Honorary Commanders, Mr. Winston Brooks, Mr. Scott Ladd, Miss Hope Nunley, Dr. Katrine Stevens, and Miss Susan Mitchell. We'd also like to recognize Test Group, Support Division, and Squadron Commanders, Chiefs, and Senior Enlisted members present, both active and retired, along with other installation contract leaders, community partners, local retirees, community, civic, base coworkers, and all those watching online over Teams today. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce the Air Force Test Center Commander, Major General Evan Durteen.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us for this important event. It's great to see our congressional representatives, the Gordon family, the Mizell family, all the men and women of AEDC, and also former commanders. But really important is the community support. So for Arnold here, this mission wouldn't be possible without all the support from the community. So for all the community leaders and all the community council representatives, thank you so much for taking the time. And for those joining us online, we wish you could be here in person, but it's great to have you here today. So it's an honor to be here. Change of commands are important. We get a chance to celebrate the history, the mission, and the people of AEDC today. and send off a great leader and also welcome a great leader to the organization. So it's an honor to be with you here today for this important event. Change of commands are important to the organization, they're important to the community, and they're important to the customers. But this one is important to the Air Force and the Space Force in our nation for the capability that AEDC has down here, because AEDC is critical to delivering the future capabilities our nation needs. General Hap Arnold had a vision of creating a national aerospace complex here back in the 40s and 50s. And here, nearly 75 years later, it has flourished into what it is today. Now, the original vision was to catch us up with Germany for what Germany had, because we were behind. But today we have a new pressing challenge with China and other peer competitors that are outpacing us in advancing technology. And America needs to keep our focus and make sure we are advancing the capabilities that we need. And Arnold is foundational to making that happen. So in a few moments, we'll transfer the guidon and bid farewell to Colonel Gordon and then welcome Colonel Mizell. But we also have the opportunity to celebrate the achievements of a world-class test organization as we close out another chapter in AEDC's rich history. So before I go too far, obviously a lot of work goes into making these ceremonies happen. So just shout out a few names here for who made it happen behind the scenes. First of all, the real master of ceremonies, where's Miss Sonia Smith at? She's probably off doing something, but Sonia is pulling this all together. Master Sergeant Infante for being our narrator, Mr. Darrell Day for the invocation, for Mr. James Dill for the national anthem, the honor guard, and then also our project officers for Captain Clicken, Master Sergeant Brotherton, and also Lieutenant Dan Meyer. And that, I will say, that was a beautiful national anthem, so let's give them all a round of applause. So today we have the opportunity to bid farewell to an amazing leader and commander, Colonel Randall Laz Gordon, his wife Tiffany, and their son Marcus. Laz has spent the last 2 years serving in a place with an amazing history. As many of you know, AEDC was originally conceived by General Arnold. And as I mentioned today, the expanse from the original vision has grown dramatically. We're over 67 different test capabilities across 7 states. There's 3,600 people supporting 200 different projects. But that threat has changed, and today the mission going forward is against the near-peer threat, as I mentioned, for China. And I know AEDC is up to the task. The Air Force, realizing this challenge, is putting significant investments into the AEDC infrastructure. And over the next several years, billions of dollars will be spent to invest in new capabilities to make sure America is ready for that challenge. That will include new hypersonic capabilities, new wind tunnels, new arc heating test facilities, a new rocket sled track in New Mexico. But we have a huge challenge ahead, and we're counting on the AEDC workforce to help deliver those capabilities. And when I talk about AEDC, it's not just here in Tennessee, it's all across the country. The 704th Test Group at Holloman Air Force Base, New Mexico, operates the rocket sled track, a GPS testing organization, a radar measurement facility, directed energy testing, and also flight testing. And under the 804th Test Group, we have an ICBM developmental test organization in Hill Air Force Base, Utah, a space test organization in Peterson Air Force Base, Colorado, and wind tunnels at Moffett Field, California, and also White Oak, Maryland. AEDC is a complex operation, so we don't just let anyone take this type of challenge. Command is a privilege that demands professional competence, unrelenting leadership, and selfless sacrifice, putting the needs of the mission and your people above your own. And getting the opportunity to command an organization with the scope and magnitude of responsibility of AEDC is truly special. This complex wide range of capabilities, unique workforce, and broad reach across the country present challenges not faced by most wing commanders. And during the past 2 years, the Gordons have met this challenge and have proven their abilities. So I'll highlight a couple things, and then we're going to present a medal that'll highlight some of the other things. But over the past 2 years, Laz has made an amazing impact with obviously the members of the AEDC team here. They helped stand up an infrastructure program management office for future construction efforts as the Air Force and TRMC invest, as I mentioned, billions of dollars to upgrade AEDC's facilities. These investments will be critical to providing new capabilities and additional capacity. Laz also advocated and delivered increased facility restoration and maintenance funding across the next 5 years. As you drive around Arnold, you can see that some of these facilities are old and need some tender loving care, and they've quite honestly been underinvested. As our nation has been focused on the Mideast, the demand on the wind tunnels here has kind of waned over the years. Now we're realizing the critical importance of all the new technologies we need to deliver, and reinvesting into the maintenance and the upgrading of the facilities is hugely important. And the Air Force has realized that, and a lot of that was due to the advocacy of Colonel Gordon showing for how much underinvestment we have put in those facilities. There's been other accomplishments as far as advancing virtual reality and flying at the flight operations at Holloman, setting up an innovation cell here at Arnold Air Force Base, and also creating programs to take care of the people. So Arnold Air Force Base is kind of at, in an isolated location away from the typical military infrastructure. So Colonel Gordon was very focused on making sure people programs were a priority here. And then as a testament to the over 200 people that are sitting in the audience today, his engagement with the community, the stakeholders, community leadership, and a tireless advocate for AEDC in the Air Force has helped with our recruiting, retention efforts, and also the future of this missions. Colonel Gordon's unwavering dedication and ceaseless efforts ensured that AEDC has continued its critical mission and helps shape the capabilities our nation needs. Laz, your commitment to air power will have a lasting impact, and many young warriors will live out your legacy with the high-tech weapons and the future that AEDC has helped develop. This Wing Command assignment also caps Colonel Gordon's impressive career and has contributed to the nation in so many significant ways. So to quickly recap, he started as an F-15 combat pilot, was a test pilot for the F-22, F-15, F-16, A-10, and numerous other platforms. He took our E-11 Battlefield Airborne Communications Node aircraft on its first combat deployment to Afghanistan. He was the initial director for the Air Force MIT Initial AI Intelligence Accelerator, which does AI development on the MIT campus. He was also a key player in AFWERK's engagement with small businesses to help leverage everything small businesses have to offer for our nation. He also has a joint assignment in the Pacific where he analyzed the impacts of future capabilities. But more importantly, he has led a life of integrity, service before self, and excellence, and has been an outstanding ambassador for the Air Force. He is constantly engaging with communities, engaging with recruiting efforts on podcasts. Every time I'm on YouTube, somehow the secret algorithm knows I know him, and I get the video of him teaching at MIT. It's a little scary, but every day when I log into my computer, I get a reminder that Laz is out there doing some community event. So Laz, your impact on the Air Force really is not in the past. It's in the future for all the recruiting, retention you've done, and everything you have done to advocate for the Air Force. And we're going to feel that impact for decades to come. So well done. And while Colonel Gordon will be missed, he isn't the only one that made an impact on this mission. Tiffany has been an amazing partner the entire time. Tiffany's been an incredible spouse, wingman, mother, advocate for military families, and liaison with local communities. You have done all this while maintaining a career of your own, and Eric and I both know you have been a driving force behind the many years of successful assignments and Team Gordon's success stories. Eric and I want to thank you on behalf of the Air Force Test Center and the Air Force for all you've done to support Laz and the Air Force throughout your Air Force journey. You've made a significant impact on so many families and individuals. You'll be missed, but we're excited to see what's next for both of you. Laz and Tiffany, on behalf of everyone across the AEDC enterprise, we can't thank you enough for leading AEDC over the past 2 years. By taking care of both the mission and the people, you have elevated this mission to a new set. Safe travels to Colorado, and congratulations on a great command. Let's give them a round of applause. So it always amazes me that we have such extraordinary airmen ready to step up when another leader moves on, and today is no different. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce the Mizells. We warmly welcome Colonel Grant Mizell, his wife Evelyn, their son Kelly, and daughter Lorelei. And I know Kelly's joining us online today, as is Marcus, who's remote today. I'll answer the question now. If you wonder how he got the call sign Missile, just wait till you see him running around the campus here. He is an accomplished runner, and that all comes from his wife, who talked him into running, and he didn't realize he had a secret talent for running. So it's a family adventure. The Mizells come to us from the dry rapids of Edwards Air Force Base in the California desert, where Mizell was the deputy commander of the Air Force Test Center, working with me in the headquarters. At the headquarters, he was involved in oversight across AFTC's entire span of operations, which includes people operating at over 30 sites and $45 billion of infrastructure. The test enterprise is extremely busy right now with over 900 different projects as we work to advance new aircraft like the B-21 and T-7, field new weapons like the AIM-260 and long-range standoff weapon, advance hypersonics capabilities, upgrade the bomber fleet, modernize F-22s, F-35s, advance artificial intelligence, and many other products to help our military maintain a competitive edge. Colonel Mizell's leadership and technical competence were awesome to have at the headquarters, and I'm excited to see him lead AEDC in the challenging road ahead. Colonel Mizell is a combat-tested pilot with over 600 combat hours, an engineer, and a tester at heart. He began his career in the C-130 and supported worldwide operations and 6 different deployments. As a test pilot, he helped modernize the C-130 fleet with new avionics, firefighting capabilities, and service life extension programs. He also completed an exchange assignment to the UK, where he was the director of flight operations and interfaced with 8 of our partner nations to advance capabilities. He also led the Big Safari organization, which is one of our organizations that does rapid acquisition and rapid modifications of aircraft to provide classified capabilities to the warfighter. He has also served in the Pentagon in various roles across acquisition, requirements, and the Joint Staff. Colonel Mizell also completed a tour in Korea and attended an Air Force Fellowship on Diplomacy at George Washington University. And he was previously the Operations Group Commander at Edwards Air Force Base, where we have one of the most diverse fleet of aircraft, prior to becoming up to be the Deputy Commander of AFTC the past year. Mizell is joined by his spouse, Evelyn, and they are an impressive team as well, and they have a foundation of strong family values and a devotion to family service to our nation. They are outdoor enthusiasts and have signed up for every extracurricular activity. I think they hold the record in Southern California for hiking almost every single trail, because every Friday night they would disappear. They were off in the mountains on the weekends as they took their scout troop to go through adventures. And I think they've hit pretty much every park trail, and he knows every single monument through Southern California. And I know you'll find the adventure here in Tennessee, because it's a beautiful nature preserve down here as well. Evelyn was a member of the school board and supported the Edwards community in numerous ways. In summary, they are the perfect team to lead this organization going forward. Mizell and Evelyn, congratulations. I'm confident you will lead the team ADC with the same passion and dedication you have shown in your previous assignments. We look forward to the future of AEDC under your leadership, and know you will meet every challenge head-on while continuing to meet the vision set by General Arnold over 75 years ago. And just add a little bit of context, right now as we're here in this room, I can look out the window and see their movers are moving household goods into their house, probably unsupervised. So I know Evelyn's sitting here going, I gotta go, I gotta go. So I will keep my remarks short, but they literally left California on Saturday morning, driven straight cross country. Their movers are moving into the house today, and they are 100% fired up and excited to lead the mission going forward. Finally, to the men and women of AEDC, thank you for what you've done in the past. Thank you for your service. AEDC has helped shape Air Force capabilities over the decades to ensure our Air Force has the competitive edge. However, today, our nation is facing near-peer challenges, and America and future generations are counting on you to deliver new capabilities and increase the capacity to help forge our nation's shield. I'm excited to see the next chapter in AEDC's rich history. Thank you.
Please stand as Major General Durteen presents the Legion of Merit to Colonel Randall J. Gordon. Colonel Randall J. Gordon distinguished himself by exceptionally meritorious conduct in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Commander, Arnold Engineering Development Complex, Air Force Test Center, Air Force Material Command, Arnold Air Force Base, Tennessee, from 16 June 2022 to 13 June 2024. His leadership and foresight consistently resulted in significant contributions to the effectiveness and success of Team Arnold in its test mission. Lauded directly by the Secretary of the Air Force, Colonel Gordon led the complex across 450-plus Department of Defense, foreign partner, and commercial test programs, directly advancing Air Force operational imperatives and national objectives, boasting warfighting capabilities in an era of great power competition. He superbly led the Arnold Engineering Development Complex in the stand-up of the complex's first ever program acquisition office for the management of over $3 billion in new hypersonic facilities and infrastructure improvements across the next 5 years. He also protected a World War II historical marker gift misidentified to Congress as a Confederate monument and slated for destruction by the Secretary of Defense. Finally, his leadership secured increased sustainment funding to ensure unique test infrastructure was postured to support a surge in modernization programs. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Colonel Randall J. Gordon culminated a distinguished career in the service of his country and reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is now my pleasure to introduce the Arnold Engineering Development Complex Commander, Colonel Randall Gordon.
See if we get this to work right. Okay, test. How's this go? Yes. Everyone knows I have a deathly fear of podiums, so I stand out here and before I forget, I need to thank my wife. Right? Thank you, Tiffany, for being with me for all this time. We are completely broke because when you retire from the Air Force, you get no dislocation allowance or anything else like that. So I need enough money for flowers. We do at least have enough money to rent a Jeep Wrangler and to go have a good time as we're driving up to Nashville today later on as we walk out the north. And we have a beautiful home in Colorado Springs now, and so I invite all of this family to be a part of that at some point. So thank you. Thank you to my family, right, for making the trip to come down here. This is now their third trip down to Tennessee. It's become like a family tradition to come out and hang out here on the lake and have a good time. And so I really appreciate the fact that you made the effort. I know it's not an easy place to get to, but it means so much to me to see my family here on this particular day. So thank you all. I do need to thank God because for all the times in my life, I am named Lazarus after all, and so for all the times in my life where I thought things were about at the very end, lo and behold, something new came about, and it was a great way with which to kind of bounce forward and to go off to a new adventure that was just absolutely spectacular and fun. And this will be no different, and so I have to thank them. So those are the important things because I've seen speeches where people forget to thank those things, and they walk out the door, and they feel terrible for the rest of their lives, and I didn't want to do that this time around. To my AEDC family and to my Tennessee family. The only way I can really describe this is love. And we don't really talk a lot about that as military commanders. We're supposed to be, upright, broad, straight kind of folks, and we don't use the word love all that much, but I think we should, because that's what's in my heart today, is love. Love for everything that you've done for us, all the things that we serve together. And so you can kind of consider this will be my last speech as an active duty officer. This is my love note to my AEDC family and my Tennessee family. So, in 3 parts, very short, because everyone's got household goods coming in, and I totally understand. By the way, it is a fantastic house. The lake house is glorious. You're going to love that. Okay, first part. Show of hands, my family. How many remember the old TV show, Greatest American Hero? All right, couple. You can kind of see who's older than 45, right? This is a show that came out in about 1981 time frame. I remember it really well because the main character to Greatest American Hero was a man named Ralph. He wasn't Superman. He wasn't Batman, who could apparently buy all of his superpowers if he needed it. wasn't an Iron Man, something like that. Ralph was a school teacher in the show that was on a field trip with his class, and lo and behold, one day a UFO shows up and drops off this package that has a special suit on the inside of that package. But the whole shtick of the show is that he doesn't get the instruction manual to the suit. So he doesn't know the powers that he actually has. And the entire show is about him discovering he's impervious to bullets, he's got telekinesis. Kind of funny enough, the suit gives him the ability to fly, but not land. So after the show, he's crashing into things along the way. But the thing that I really loved about the show is that Ralph, at his core, had a heart of gold. And he used those superpowers for good, when he very easily could have taken all those powers and done something else with it. Later on, you come to find in the show that the UFO appeared to a previous person, also dropped off that same suit, and that person used all of those skills to do all types of terrible things to people. And so there was a moral dynamic to the show, right, that I didn't quite pick up on in my 7-year-old state, but it's a really interesting thought. And the reason I bring it up here is that's exactly command. That's been my experience with command. When General Bunch gave me a call and said that I was getting the gem of AFMC, and he was absolutely right, it was as if that UFO showed up on my doorstep and then deposited that red suit with the black cape. And there's really not much in the Air Force that describes what a commander actually does. And at the end of the day, what I learned in command is that who you are on the inside gets revealed by that command badge in the same way that the suit revealed the soul and the heart of the person that wore that suit in that show. So if you are vengeful, if you're cold, if you are aloof, if you're driven by vengeance, then command will reveal that to the world. You cannot hide it. But if you're driven by something different inside, command will also reveal that as well. And I was always mindful of this. I mean, a lot of my AEDC family knows that I get up in the morning pretty early, and I make a routine of the things that I do, and I pray, I meditate, I exercise, I think about a whole bunch of different things. But one of my prayers was always that you would see an inner light reflected in the way in which I interacted and behaved around you. Because it matters, right? It completely matters. So for folks that are considering command or leadership or something like that, do it. It is fantastically maturing. And just be advised, it will reveal everything about who you are. And a wise man once told me the only thing that really matters at the end of the day is how you feel about yourself when you are by yourself. And so even though General Bunch could confer command upon me, at the end of the day, it's only this family that can judge me and say, hopefully I've led with light and with empathy and with love for everything that we do here. And even in scenarios where good order and discipline became an issue or hard decisions need to be made, know that it was always from my standpoint to explain why we needed to do something. And if it was something where we needed to do something that potentially could hurt or harm someone, that it was always in the position of how do we help on the back side of that, how do we grow and how do we build on the back end of that. I learned that, incidentally, from, I think, two of the greatest leaders that I had a chance to serve with. One was our prior Vice Chief of Staff of the Air Force, the great Sebby Wilson, who made an environment that was awesome for us at AFWorks to be able to start up and do things. And then the other is a man at the time that was Lieutenant Colonel Ken Wilsbach, my first operational commander, now 4-star commander of Air Combat Command, Ken Wilsbach, who couldn't be with us here today, but sent some nice messages earlier when I talked to him about it. I learned that from him, of leading with empathy. So that's my first love note to my AEDC family and my Tennessee family. My second love note, and I saw this with Mr. Rutland, God rest his soul. I saw this with Mike Niederhauser, also God rest his soul. And I saw this with Claude Morse. And I'll focus a little bit on Claude because I haven't had a chance to tell you this story yet. We heard a little bit about this at his funeral. Claude, when I met Claude, I'm almost embarrassed to admit this, but the first thought that went through my mind when I met Claude is, this is the most handsome, dapperly dressed Santa Claus imitator I have ever seen in my life. He looked exactly like Santa Claus, except Santa Claus in a perfect suit with everything just tailored just so. But in time, I come to learn that wasn't really a fair comparison because Santa only works one day out of the year. and Claude only had one speed, full afterburner power all the way through. He was an amazing, amazing guy, and a lion of the community, a prior Air Force airman, just one of those folks that was just pure salt of the earth kind of stuff. I learned through my Arnold Community Council that Claude's health had taken a turn, and that if there was time to go say something to him, you better hurry. And so on Veterans Day, I got a chance to drive up to Nashville to go to the hospital and to walk into Claude's room. And when I walked in there, it was clear that he was kind of in his final days. He didn't have that much left to go. But what was most amazing about Claude to me is that as I sat down, he didn't complain. He made peace with what was about to happen. And rather than try to spend those last couple minutes, trying to complain about different things, would you believe it, family? He made it a point to make me feel welcome. And they told stories and jokes, and they had a good time with it. And Claude really couldn't speak very loudly, so anytime he said something, you really had to lean in. It was pretty clear that he was pretty weak. But it tells you, if you don't have that much energy left, the words you say are important because they'll very well be the last words you say. And the words Claude said were everything about AEDC, all the things that he wanted to do but just couldn't get to, which is amazing considering how much he did for us, and how much he loved the Air Force, and how much he loved his family, and how appreciative it was that the AEDC commander would take time to come sit next to his side and share a couple moments with him. I'm not lying, family. I sat there, I tried to keep it together. I think I did a good job. But the moment I left his room, I lost it. And I cried all the way from the room down to my car. Because what it really struck me as is how blessed we are to serve with people like that. And throughout the entire time that I've been here, you all have stories like that. You've lost children, you've faced really challenging health issues, you've had challenges in the workplace, but as always, we made it a point to be together and to face that together. Now I bring that up, right, because in a way, Claude was showing me his greatest American superhero suit, his red suit with a black cape. Again, it reveals who you are on the inside, and Claude was amazing. Claude was representative of this family, of what we do here. That's important, because as much as we talk about technology and how we're going to go beat up on our adversaries, I think the superpower that we have is our team. We have a better team than they'll ever have, period, dot. And that's what's going to make it win for America. And it's things like that, right? Claude's example to me, because he didn't last more than about 2 days after that, but his last example to me has always struck with me. And I had similar experiences with Mike Niederhauser, and similar experiences with Mr. Rutland, and similar experiences with you. And that's the thing I think most that I will miss about serving in this uniform, is having a team that is so committed that way. So I thank you. That's my second love note. My last love note. As a complex, we all have that red superhero suit with the black cape. The things that we do, and General Durteen mentioned a lot of this already, and thank you, sir, for doing that. Thank you. The things that we do here have absolutely astounded me. Halfway through my tour, I kind of came up with this idea that we're nerds with a patriotic bent, right? Our weapon is our data. The shield that we have is our teams. And I really do believe that. Whether or not we're doing ICBM things or doing our wind tunnel stuff in various sites across the country, or sled track things, or GPS things, radar measurement things, when we had the McKinley Climate Lab, all the stuff that they worked on down there, the survivability stuff that we had, all the stuff that we did with space testing out in Colorado. I have absolutely, and I do mean this, I have absolutely enjoyed being the holy living nightmare of adversary militaries around the world. What we do here protects freedom around the world for at least 24 more hours. And as a young kid growing up under the Cold War, wondering one day if I would see nuclear missiles come over the horizon, because I lived up in the Northeast and we were certainly on the target list, to be able to go from a trailer park in upstate New York and to get a chance to lead and to serve with people that do that type of capability here as a commander, it's customary to say that it's been an honor and a privilege, but it's more accurate to say, for me at least, that that's been the summation of my entire life's work, is to serve in this mission with these people to do what we do for freedom around the world. So I wanted to thank my AEDC family, my Tennessee family. I tried to do as much as I could to shake hands and to really tell you eye to eye how much I really love you. And I use that word very deliberately. I love you. If you are ever in Colorado Springs and you don't look me up, I'm going to be very upset. Please come stop by and see Miss Tiffany and I, because we would love to have you. My last message is for the Mizells. And I've had a long history with the Mizells. One of the advantages of being a test pilot is that community is extremely small, so you know everybody. And the Mizells I've known for a long time. Whether or not we're hiking in the hills over to Tehachapi and having discussions of Don Quixote, or whether or not we're at Universal Studios and having a good time with that, it was really awesome. I'm really sorry Kelly couldn't have been here, but as it works out, my son couldn't either. But those two kind of really got well together and they're doing well. I wish them all the best of luck in college. Lorelai, you look beautiful. Thank you for being here again. Wow, it's an amazing time. I present to you the Arnold Engineering Development Complex. General Lunch was 100% correct. This is the greatest hidden gem of all of AFMC. Every single solitary commander that's ever been here walks out and says that was the greatest thing I ever got a chance to do, and I now add to that vision. Please take care of them. Please take care of this mission, because it is so valuable for what we do for America, right? Not just the U.S. Air Force, but everything we do for America and our partner nations. It all runs through the billions of dollars that we have here and a very professional workforce. So with that, again, I wanted to thank you. Thank you for being here. I love you all. This is the end of this journey, but it's the beginning of another, and I will see you on the other side. Thank you.
Please be seated. Mrs. Tiffany Gordon, the men and women of the Arnold Engineering Development Complex greatly appreciate your sacrifice, commitment, and support to this base, our families, and our surrounding communities. Colonel Gordon, it has been our great honor to serve under your command. The men and women of AEDC thank you for your leadership, support, and dedication. We wish you and your family good luck and Godspeed in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the change of command. Attention to orders. By order of Major General Evan C. Durteen, Special Order ED 24384, Colonel Randall Gordon relinquishes command and Colonel Grant Mizell assumes command of Arnold Engineering Development Complex, effective 13 June 2024.
Sir, I assume command.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is my pleasure to introduce the new Arnold Engineering Development Complex Commander, Colonel Grant Mizell.
Well, good morning. And it's truly a beautiful morning here in Tennessee. I've only been in town for about 48 hours, and wow, we're blessed to be able to join you in an incredible place like this. You know, they closed these slats here because then you'd just be staring at the beauty of Tennessee and not paying attention up here. So I appreciate that, Sonia. Thank you. I could not have asked for a better place or better people to share this place with. General Derteen, thank you for your words. Thank you for your continual stewardship over this test enterprise. Thank you for your trust in Evelyn and I to take on this challenge. And I just wanted to throw one correction in there. Those movers are supervised. This is what I call laissez-faire supervision. I can just barely see them. Laz, you and Tiffany are amazing human beings. Thank you for your words. I hope that they are not a foreshadowing. I hope I can be on your side of the team and I don't get that suit and use it for the wrong reasons. But thank you for being a leader. Thank you for being a mentor to me. Thank you, Tiffany, for being a mentor to Evelyn. Thank you for being a role model to us. Thank you for being an amazing commander of AEDC. You have so many adventures ahead of the two of you. I'm so excited to see where you go because I hope to just follow in your footsteps the rest of the way. And you know I can never fill the shoes, the boots that you leave behind. But I will endeavor every day to be the best possible teammate to this organization that you leave us with. So thank you. As you've heard already, it takes an army to coordinate an event like this. I saw everybody in here yesterday. It looked like a beehive in here, setting everything up, making sure everything was happening, and that was just the culmination of weeks and weeks of planning. So I've got to throw out an extra thank you to all the people who put this event together. I'll tell you, when I see the Stars and Stripes up there and I hear a rousing anthem like we did today from J.D. Dill, my chest gets tight, and there's not a better patriotic moment than any event like that. So thank you, J.D., for that. The invocation, Daryl, thank you very much. That was beautiful. Sergeant Infantante, Sergeant Orwell, thank you. The men and women of AEDC, thank you for just this showing. I mean, this is an incredible testament to the leadership of the Gordons. So this is great to have a full house like this. I thought for a minute maybe Laz had just run down the street to the local music festival and he had just herded people in after seeing the freeways last night. But no, I can tell that everyone's here for him today. So thanks for being here. All the teams, Sonia, Jovi, Camden, Paul, the TSD team who runs this event center, PA for putting this out on the net, Robin's Honor Guard, our parking team, our escort team, and the many contributors that I'm sure I'm leaving out. Thank you so much. General Heiger, Leslie, thank you for traveling all this way. It's just incredibly meaningful to have you travel all the way out here for this event. Thank you for leading both Laz and me. Thank you for pushing both of us to this incredible leadership opportunity and directing us to this hidden gem of AFTC. Larry, thank you for marrying Evelyn and I more than 20 years ago. Because, you know, that for better or worse thing that you said is really working out in my favor in this one. But luckily, Tennessee is going to be one of those for better opportunities in there. And we're looking forward to that. Dave, Vinny, my old friends, it's great to see you. Thanks for coming out. Thank you to my support network, my family, some of whom made it today, others who are joining us virtually, and some who are otherwise occupied continuing to make the world turn out there. Evelyn and Lorelei, thanks for making a 1,500-mile journey at full speed in just 2 days across the country. You know, that's 1,500 miles, that's a lot of Taylor Swift albums. And if you have to measure your drive in Taylor Swift albums, then, well, we survived, right? So, Kelly, joining us online, We miss you. Sorry you missed out on that adventure, but we'll figure out how to make it up to you. We'll drive around the block a bunch of times or something when you get here. Mom and Andrew and Marigold, thank you for traveling out here from the West Coast. I know that the weather in Dallas-Fort Worth was a little challenging to make it through last night, but thank you as you support yet another move and yet another location you get to come visit for the holidays. Winston and Lally, thank you so much. Thank you for trusting the United States Air Force with your only daughter and your 2 grandkids. And thank you for taking this time out of your incredibly busy, important lives to share with us in this military milestone. To the men and women of AEDC, thank you for allowing me to join your team. It would be an understatement to say that I am excited to have a role in this fantastic enterprise. As the Air Force goes through historic reorganization, the department continues to pivot to compete against near-peer adversaries, and the United States is required now more than ever to exercise its global leadership. I know that this small team of teams, military, civilian, and contractor, airmen and guardians, will continue to forge our nation's next sword and shield. As one role model of mine still repeats, how does a country of 300 million compete with a country of 1.3 billion? And the answer is through sheer expertise, will, and patriotism of AEDC Tennessee, AEDC New Mexico, AEDC Maryland, AEDC Utah, AEDC California, AEDC Colorado, and all of our AEDC teams spread across the globe. But let's not get overconfident. We must hone our skills every day. We must ask ourselves, what is the most effective capability we can work on today? How do we accelerate that capability delivery in the midst of difficult and critical resource prioritization? We must remain that front line who commits ourselves to answering our nation's call, a commitment that brought us here to begin with. Because we must perform on a level that is not possible if it's originating from a communist party driving slave labor. It can only originate from a society of free people who willingly sacrifice for the good of the world. This group of people, this group, AEDC, will ensure that 300 million keep the technological advantage, the edge on 1.3 billion. As you can see, I am excited to be part of this team. I'm chomping at the bit to join each one of you in keeping the American democratic values in the driver's seat, to join each of you in preventing an alternative world order, and to join each of you in developing the next war-winning capability for America. God bless you, you who have been executing this mission, and I'm ready to join you and get to business. Thank you.
We extend a warm Tennessee welcome to the Mizell family. This concludes today's ceremony. Please stand for the playing of the Air Force song and remain standing for the departure of the official party. Please join us for a welcome reception in the Four Seasons room to the left of the ballroom in honor of the Mizell family once they have departed.